Hi everyone. In this lesson we're going to be looking at compound interest, but when you can use multipliers to find the compound interest. So this is when you are allowed a calculator. So in your GCSE this would be for when you have a Unit 2 question. And I know that you have done a lesson on simple and compound interest where you don't have a calculator. And it's very important to remember both methods, because if a compound interest question comes up on Unit 1, you need to do the method that you have learnt already. And then if a compound interest question comes up on a Unit 2, then this method is very efficient and you may find it easier. Okay, so just a refresh on compound interest. So compound interest means that the interest or depreciation, because interest can be that it goes up if you had money in a bank, or if you borrowed money then it's going to be going up, but also it can depreciate. So for example, if you buy a car, the price of a car can go down, so that would then be a depreciation. And these must be worked out separately for each year. And it does tend to state that in the question. If you look at, for example, this example here that came up in June 2017, this is a Unit 1 question. I want us to just have a quick little recap to make sure that you are fully confident with what you've learnt so far. When it says that it's an increase by 10% of the previous year's cost, that would be something that would tell you and remind you then that this is going to be compound interest. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is to try this question in your little books then as a little starter. So the talent contest is held once a year. Every year the cost of putting on the talent contest increases by 10% of the previous year's cost. In summer 2014 the cost was $6,600. Calculate the cost of putting on the summer 2017 talent contest. You must show all your work. It's for 3 marks. So you don't have a calculator. Can you pause this video, try that question, and then when you're ready to mark your work, press play and I'll be going through it with you. Okay, so hopefully you've tried this question out, so let's have a look. What we do then is we are needing to do this over 3 years, because at the start the original amount is $6,600 in 2014, and then we need to find the cost in 2017. So first of all we'd look at the cost in 2015. So you'd do that by finding the increase, by finding 10% of 6,600. 100% is 6,600. 10% is going to be, how do we get that? We divide by 10. I know that some of you wouldn't put this method, but just to make sure, so that's 660. So that is going to be the increase. It's going to go up by £660 for that year. So the cost in 2015 is going to be the original amount for the previous year plus this new increase, which gives you 7,260, which you could use a tower sum to do so. Okay, so then let's look at 2016. Your increase, again we need to find 10% of the previous year. So the amount in the previous year was 7,260, that's the amount here. How do we find 10% of a number? We divide by 10, so some of you may write this like this and not the method above. I don't mind, just as long as you get it right. Okay, so the cost in 2016 is going to the amount it was at the start of the year, which is 7,260, adds this increase of 726, which is 7,986. Okay, if I split this in half a moment then, so you'd go underneath, but I haven't got enough space to do that. In the summer of 2017, again we need to find the increase first by finding 10% of the amount it was the previous year, and in 2016 the cost of the talent show was 7,986. So we do that by finding 10% of the number. How do you find 10% of a number? You divide by 10, which is going to give you £798.60. So the cost in 2017 is going to be the amount it was at the start, which is 7,986. Add this increase. Remember, this is a Unit 1 question, so you would probably use a tower sum to be working these out. So you'd have 7,986, add £798.60, 0.6, that's going to give you 14, that's going to give you 18, 17, and that there will give you 8. So the cost in 2017 was £8,784.60. Make sure that you have answered the question, because sometimes they want the interest and not the amount it was at the end. That is the amount. Calculate the cost of putting on the summer 2017 talent contest. So cost in 2017 equals £8,784.60. Okay, so that's using the skill that you learned from last lesson. So what I'm going to do now is look at this question using the multiplier method. So imagine this question came up in a Unit 2, so you are allowed to use your calculator. So what you would do, the method that we do now, is you need your knowledge of percentage multipliers, and that is a topic that you've also already done. So if you've got this question, it says, so 10% of the previous year cost, speaks about an increase in percentage. I then know that this question is a compound interest question. So when you have got a calculator, we can use the multiplier method. So find the percentage multiplier first of all. That is your first step. Okay, so step 1, find the percentage multiplier. And how do we do that? Well, always start with 100%. Work out if it's going up, it's an increase, so the original amount is going up by 10%. Then convert each of these to decimals, so that will be 1 and 0.1. So my percentage multiplier is 1.1. So step 1, find the percentage multiplier. Okay. Okay, step 2 then. You need to know what the time frame is. So for this, it is starting in 2014 and then it's ending in 2017. That's when you want to find the cost. So step 2, find the time frame, for example then. I'm not sure if that's completely accurately to call it that. In this case, 3 years. Okay. And then you can go ahead and find the cost. Okay, so the cost now is going to be the percentage multiplier, which is 1.1. Okay, the power to this multiplier is going to be the time. So this is 3 years, so your power is going to be 3. Okay. And then what we then do is we times that by the amount it was at the beginning, so the original amount, the start amount. Okay. That is how you can find the cost using percentage multiplier, if you were to type that into your calculator, what you will get is £8,784.60. I'll take you straight to that. Now I want to go through why that is. If we look at this example here, using our knowledge of percentage multiplier, we know that we could technically find this cost here by multiplying 6,600 by 1.1. That would be your percentage multiplier. Okay, and then here again we could have got to here by doing 1.1 times 7,260, and then here by doing 1.1 times 7,986. So essentially what you're doing each time is you're multiplying that original amount by 1.1 for the first year, 1.1 for the second year, 1.1 for that third year, which in itself then is like 6,600 times 1.1 to the power of 3. So that's where it comes from. That's why we use this formula. Okay, let's try it with another example in the hope that it will make a bit more sense. So here, a car is bought for £12,000. Each year its value, so each year its value depreciates. What does depreciate mean? It means it goes down by 5% of its value at the start of the year. So this is going to be compound interest, because it's going down depending on how much it was the previous year. How much is the car worth after 4 years? Okay, so step 1, find your percentage multiplier. How do we do that? 100% minus 5%, which is going to be 1 minus 0.05, which is 0.95. Okay, then we find the time frame. So this is for the time is for 4 years. So therefore, how much is the car worth? Cost of car after 4 years is going to be the multiplier, which is 0.95, to the power of the however much the time is, so for 4 years, so the power is 4, multiplied by the amount that the car was at the start, so 12,000. So type that into your calculator and you should get an answer of 9,774.075, which this is going to be in money, so we need to round up to 2 decimal places, £9,774.08. Just make sure that you have answered the question and then you're done. So on to the next question. Here Kingsley invests £3,000 in an account that pays 2% compound interest per annum, so that means per year. He does not make any further payments into his account. He does not withdraw any money from his account. How much will Kingsley have in his account after 2 years? So notice this is a Unit 2 question. So in your GCSE, you would actually use the method that you've learned before. But for this one, I want us to use the multiplier method for this. So how do we do that? First of all, find your percentage multiplier. So that's going to be 100%, add 2%, because that's the compound interest, which is 1, add 0.02, so your multiplier is 1.02. So we want to know how much he has in his account, amount in the account after 2 years will be percentage multiplier, which is 1.02, the time frame, which is 2 years, multiplied by the amount it was at the start, which is 3,000. So it's as easy as that using this method. Type that into your calculator and you will get £3,121.20, and in your GCC you would then write that in the place given. Okay, example 4. Unit 2 question. Marley's scooter depreciated, so it tells you here that it means decreased in value by 24% in the first year. So that's in bold, so it means we have to be careful. In all further years, her scooter depreciated by 13% of its previous year's value. So from then on, it goes down by 13%. She originally paid £850 for her scooter. Calculate the value of Marley's scooter after 7 years. So here, we can't just go straight on. We need to work out how much it would be at the end of the first year. So find your multiplier, which is going to be 100% minus, because it's depreciating, 24%, which is 1 minus 0.24, giving you 0.76. So the value at the end of the first year will be a percentage multiplier. Power is the amount, is the time, so that's going to be 1 multiplied by the amount it was at the start, which is 850. And typing that into your calculator, that will give you £646. Therefore, now when we are going to be working it out what it would be at the end of the 7th year. But notice that that is going to be only 6 years. Okay, because we've already calculated how much it goes down by in the first year. So first of all, find your multiplier. So 100%, note up here, in all further years it goes down by 13%. Sorry, I'm just going to unequal that. Minus 13%. So 1 minus 0.13 gives you multiplier to be 0.87. So the cost or the value at the end of the 7th year will be the multiplier for these next 6 years to the power of 6, because it's over 6 years, multiplied by the amount it was at the end of the first year. So that's going to be 646. That's where you may find that quite difficult, because remember it says here of its previous year's value, and the previous year's value is this 646. So typing that into your calculator, that will give you 280.1225, which for this you need in pounds, so £280, 12 pence. And lastly, not quite compound interest, but a question that they could ask you is, saying that a number is increased by 4% of its value. This is done 7 times, each time increasing the previous value by 4%. Circle the multiplier that you would use to find. So for this, first of all, find your multiplier, which would be 100%, add 4%, which would be 1 add 0.04, which is 1.04. And then because this is done 7 times, the power is going to be 7. So you'd circle that for this question. For B, it's saying that it's decreased. So again, of its value, this is done 3 times, each time decreasing the previous value. So that reminds you, it's like compound interest, but it's just finding that multiplier. So find the multiplier first of all. Okay, so that's that, and then your power is going to be how many times it's done, the time frame, which is 3 years, so it's going to be 0.88 to the power of 3, which is this one here. Okay, so it's just a different way that they could ask it. Huge well done. Try to write those examples in, and I hope you understood.